So here's I just finished building my F-18 V3, so I'll do a little walk around here before going out for maiden flight. Gonna hold on to it in case the wind gusts a little. It's pretty calm out, so we should be okay. Pretty straightforward build. It is my second RCPowers plane, so and on this one, first time using foam tack and the super thin drywall tape, and so that was a new learning experience, but pretty easy once you do a few joints and get used to it. So pretty much foam tack everywhere. The only place there's hot glue is down here along these joints on the engine cowlings, holding the servos in, and other than that there's 5-minute epoxy on the motor mounts, and I use 5-minute epoxy on the magnets to make sure they stay on there. Pretty straightforward build. It's stock F-18 V3, although I did open up the slots a little bit in front of the prop. I'm not going to be running any big motors on this. This is the Focal Price 2700 with a 6x3E prop. We've got 40 amp plush Turnigy in there, and I run an Orange RX system. First purchased transmitter receiver pair for, set for me versus the ones I got with some nitro planes type planes, so saved a few dollars there. But once I get better at flying, probably jump up on that. Anything special about this? My build here, I did do something a little different on the hatch, taking advantage of that notch there, tapered it and covered it with the foam tape to reinforce it. Brought it a little up a little forward so I can get my fingers underneath there. So right now it's got the 1800 battery in it right up against the bulkhead there, and she balances right on the stock CG. Did have to put a little notch in here to clear the prop collet when that comes out. Thinking about placement, and because of the Orange X radio, Orange RX, on the servos for the elevons, I don't have as much mixing capabilities, and I'm using a V-tail mixer in here, so you can't always mount the servos where you want because they might end up backwards, and that was my case. I could have put them in the deck here, but I decided to do this little trick. I saw another person on the forum do. I was back looking at the posts, and so I put them up here and then jumped them over in like that, and so it uses the full length 12-inch rods, so I just worked it from this end back and ended up not cutting any of the rod off, and it just fits, and it gets those servos forward as well, so so I try to keep things near the CG point. Of course there's a little extra rod doing that, so one could experiment with the payoffs of doing that. And what I found from my first build is I get everything fit nicely, real snug fits on here, so there's no play in the control surfaces. I get everything laid out, I cut the slots for the servos, and then get all the electronics. Of course, all the electronics were tested a lot through all this to make sure I had everything oriented correctly. But then I get everything fired up, electronics on, servos centered, and I leave just a little bit of play in the slot. And with all the control surfaces neutraled out, I hot glue them in place so that I know I'm starting at a 0 point. I'm not having to then adjust out a bunch of servo placement errors. So using the KF2 foil, just like, again, as I said, stock. I know some people put the carbon on the bottom, I put it on the top. I figure then it also gets trapped by the KF foil wing, helps it stay in there. Just try to be real careful about the build. Don't want to rush things too much. Get nice clean edges on the cuts, and do some sanding. Gonna go out and maiden this and hopefully land it well.